Good morning, and thank you for joining us for Coffee and Collaboration. Your host, Kimberly Winborn, will show you the power of proactive networking. Grab your coffee and let's get started.
Welcome to another Coffee and Collaborations podcast episode. I'm super excited because I have actually a co-host. You guys know that we started with the radio show on the Every Black channel. I started this show back in April of 2018. And along with the young lady who I have today as a guest on the show, we were able to work with Every Black up until June of this year on 88.1 The Truth. And now we've switched, but we continue to build resources, continue to get together, connect, talk, and meet about things that we have in common. And today I have Bianca Lynch of Social Savvy, who also has a show, a podcast on the Every Black podcast. We've just transitioned. We haven't stopped. We kept moving forward. And so I'm excited this morning to have a fellow co-host. So good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Kimberly?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I am also excellent. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. And so Bianca and I have spoken before. I've been on her show actually. And so I wanted to have her on this show. And she is a guru in the space of social media excellence. And I wanted to put it like that because there are social media managers, there are social media consultants, but then there are people like Bianca who have social media excellence. And by that, I mean, they really want you to look your best, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, they want you to look your best from that arena. And so many people do social media, but the question is, do they do it well? And so that's what we're going to talk about. You guys know this show is about networking to your best, networking in excellence, showing up so that you can be a representation of your brand and what you want to put out there. Really being intentional about your hello and the ambiance that you bring into a room so that you attract success and you attract those that you need to partner with, collaborate with, and then from there, be able to create those opportunities. Well, we've discussed before how that process often starts with social media. And so we're going to kind of give her the floor to talk about that today. And one of the main things that we want to talk about is how to transfer from social media to actually sitting across the table, that relationship, but how to do the social media part of it well, some of the tools, and she's just going to explain to us the best approaches to being successful as a networker through social media. And then anything else that we just began to talk about, because as you guys know, my show is much like a conversation and I really like for it to flow. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know you guys are looking forward to an amazing day today. Of course, it's Monday that we launched the show, but sometimes you listen to it. I think our viewers in California love Wednesday. So thank you for listening regardless. And thank you for joining the show once again. So Bianca, I want to give you the floor because like I said before, social media is extremely important, as you know, to the networking process. And so many people can do it very effectively while others are still lacking in that particular area. I mean, and do so many things wrong. And we have social media etiquette that is flying all out the window, all over the place. So can you speak to that transition, that process, and your expertise in that space so that people can leave from this show knowing how to go out there and really be effective in their networking through social media?
Yes, absolutely, Kimberly. Thank you for that introduction. As she said, guys, my name is Bianca Lynch of BiancaLynch.com, and I am a social media strategist and consultant. So I love helping people show up online as their best self, as Kimberly mentioned. And it's super, super important to highlight that one of the most important aspects of social media, if not the most important aspect of social media, is really collaborating and building these relationships. Mm-hmm. And like these relationships, when I'm referring to, you know, not only like potential clients and customers, like those are great, but also, you know, other businesses, you know, brands, partnerships, like friends, like literally the possibilities are endless. And
Yes.
And when you're thinking about how to collaborate on social media, whenever you are someone who, hopefully you are this person, you want to get from being a social media connection to an in-person connection, whether that be at an event that you are attending or that you're speaking at, or whether it's you meeting in person to talk about doing business with them, whatever it is. Like if that is the ultimate goal, then it really is important that you focus on serving.
Yes.
And Kimberly and I have talked about this whenever she came on the Social Savvy Spotlight, and I know that Kimberly talks about this in general. So I'm gonna definitely keep it related specifically to social media, because what I see so often is, as entrepreneurs, we are really, really excited about what it is we do, and we want to get on social media and we want to tell everybody about it, right? We want to say, I'm going to be at this event, and I'm doing this webinar, and I have this product, and I'm creating this. And the problem with that is, while those services and products are valuable, I'm sure it's not coming from a serve first perspective. So what I always tell people is, whenever it comes to posting to social media, number one, right, you always want to be like 80-20. Like, and I personally, I think the 80-20 rule applies to a lot of things in life, but when we're talking about it in relation to your social media posting, you want to think 80% of the time, all I'm doing is providing value, connecting, you know, commenting on other people's things, sharing, you know, giving that encouragement online. And then 20% of the time is when you're selling. And I use the word selling because, you know, in my opinion, selling is not a dirty word. It's a part of what we do. I know maybe it's uncomfortable for some people. We'll have to save the selling conversation for another day. But the point is, 80% of your time should be spent making those valuable connections and nurturing those relationships.
Yes.
And the really nice thing about social media is that if you're doing it right, if you're being strategic, and if you're connected to the right people, it really doesn't feel like a chore. Because if I'm connected to Kimberly, which I am, of course, and I see Kimberly post something about, you know, the importance of networking, even though I'm a social media person, as a business owner in general, that's something that I can relate to. So if I comment and I go, Kimberly, I love that you highlighted this. I think it's important to note that XYZ. And also, have we thought about this? Like, that's sparking a conversation, and that's building a relationship between Kimberly and myself. And those are the types of things that go a long way online, just like they would offline.
Yes. Yes. Organic growth and engagement. And it just made me think about, too, some of the opportunities with some of the social media platforms to engage effectively that many of us don't use, like being in a room at a networking event and being able to search people, like through the new upgrade to the LinkedIn, where you can search for people in the room and connect right there. It made me think of like all these digital opportunities to make those solid connections and be of service, be able to say, oh gosh, you know, like I was talking about before, walking in a room and being attractive, well, maybe you won't get to speak to that person who showed up in that room of service and you want to meet with, but you can see if you can find them on Facebook or LinkedIn if that app is open. And so I do want you to speak to some of that too, like how some of these digital resources, these social media resources are out here for people to use to network. But I love what you just talked about as far as service, as far as connecting and the organic engagement that happens as a result of that service.
Yes, absolutely. And you highlighting the point of, like, you know, being at an event and then being able to connect with someone while you're there and catching up with them afterward. Perfect example. Because how often are we at events, whether they're large or small, but maybe we have to go? I mean, guys, I'm guilty. I've like spoken at an event and had to go like 10 minutes afterward. And again, I'm not saying that in particular is the best practice, but the point is that life happens.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's in that crowd. You don't know who wants to connect with you. And, you know, this is, and a lot of times, it's tricky because when it comes to social media, a lot of times, you know, there's FOMO, right? Like the fear of missing out. And in my opinion, there's healthy FOMO and there's unhealthy FOMO. Now, obviously, the unhealthy FOMO was when you think you should be on every social media channel all the time. And when you're comparing your success to someone else's, you know, that's a rabbit hole we don't want to go down. But when we're talking about business, and this is a podcast about business ultimately, so, you know, let's talk about it. If you are at an event, you know, if you speak at an event or if you attend an event and someone sees you there and they don't have that opportunity, if they're connected with you on social, they can easily go and make that connection. And I love that you brought that up, Kimberly, because first of all, LinkedIn is, we can have an entirely new conversation just about LinkedIn. Like, guys, it is so important. Like, it's literally your digital address book. And, you know, and talking about how, you know, if you could make that connection there, maybe even if the person didn't want to connect with you there, but now they connect with you on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever it is, and it's 6 months, maybe it's 6 years later, it doesn't even matter. The time will pass regardless. I have had people reach out to me from people I met like 3 years ago. Like, it's crazy. And they say, you know, I've been following you on LinkedIn and I saw that you posted this. I love your post about this. Like, you never know who's watching. And since we live in a world where there's so much content, right? Like, there's so much noise out there. Like, like, we would love to believe that, oh yeah, they'll remember me, you know, they'll remember my name forever. No.
Right.
No, they won't. I went to an event a couple weeks ago, and one of the speakers there, he had sent his PowerPoint presentation out. So I wanted to look at it because I was looking for a graphic design example. Kimberly, I could not remember that man's name. This was less than 2 weeks ago, but you know what I did? I went right to LinkedIn and I searched some of the keywords I remembered because I followed up. Now, I connected with him on LinkedIn and I was like, great presentation. I would love the slide because he mentioned that, you know, we could have access if we reached out to him. I went and searched those LinkedIn messages and there he was.
It becomes that place to go now. It really does. You know, Social media, it becomes that place to go, like a phone book. You know, back in the day, instead of picking up the book and searching the pages, now, and we go to social media and you're like, oh, do you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, well, let me go to Facebook or let me go to LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's truly a powerful resource used correctly. And one of the things I want to highlight really quickly, and you may be able to speak to this, is changing the cold market, you know, the traditional conversion from cold to warm when you're talking about prospecting and the like. That happens so easily through social media. And what I would highlight is why it's important to be authentic to your brand and yourself and knowing what that is, because of course that's my area, brand communications. And one of the things that we highlight on the show, as well as in the business networking and communication skills class. But cold to warm, that cold market, people you never knew become that warm market. And you're able to now be attractive and sell your products or services because you're not so cold anymore. And so can you speak to that just a little bit, how the power of social media makes that conversion?
Definitely. And girl, you know, you're speaking my language right now. Guys, this is what I love. This is what I do. Like, my specialty is working with, you know, service-based business owners, you know, a lot of like coaches, consultants, like anyone in the space of building a personal brand. Mm-hmm. So like literally, like just by posting about the things that you love, the things that are near and dear to you, things that are related to your business, it's like you're building these relationships without even knowing it. You know, like if you think about what I said, you know, a few minutes ago about how, you know, someone had reached out to me and they were like, oh, I love your post, I've been following you. Guys, first of all, let me tell you, lurkers are real. And I have had lurkers become clients.
Yes.
I have had people reach out to me. I didn't know them from a can of paint. And they told me, they were like, I'm on your email list and I love your newsletter. I'm always opening your emails and I'm over here like, thank you. I had no idea. And don't get me wrong, you know, of course, you know, there is, I will encourage you, if you do feel like you are a lurker, to definitely, you know, just, you know, reach out, let people know that they're helpful. Like, if you have a question, ask it. I do encourage you to do that. But, going back to Kimberly's point, that is literally, that's how you convert followers into buyers, because they're getting to know you, because people are going to buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. And by by showing up online as your best self, being someone who's always providing that valuable information, being a resource, sharing great content, you're building relationships with hundreds, thousands, even up to millions. Let's talk about the amount of people on social media, right? Like, you have the opportunity to do all of that, to reach millions of people for free every single day. You cannot get that anywhere else.
Amen. That's why when people say, because we all get frustrated by the muddle that happens on, especially Facebook, it's more social than maybe a LinkedIn. But we all get frustrated sometimes by some of the people we follow that just kind of rants about whatever. Yep. And so people jump off of Facebook for that purpose. And I'm always like, okay, there are so many options to edit who you're following.
Yep.
And they show up. You can even now take a break from someone. There's an option on Facebook where you can actually take a break, okay, it's too much. So it's too many things that you can strategically do as a business owner who likes the social side of it, but also wants to promote your business through social media, that you don't have to leave it. I will not get off of Facebook unless they do something extremely ridiculous, because it is such an amazing tool. And LinkedIn, people don't get on LinkedIn because they don't feel like that their audience is there. Well, I challenge people also to take a look again at that. And I heard your girl. So what's your thought on that?
Listen, man, LinkedIn is gold. And don't get me wrong, guys. I like Facebook. I like Instagram. There's not really a social media channel that I don't like. Not a huge fan of Snapchat. Again, a conversation for another day. Right. But like the main, like, big ones, like they're great. But let's be honest, they're also really, really noisy. Guys, LinkedIn has almost 600 million members compared to Facebook and Instagram that are in the billions. Like, people take advantage of this because people are going to start catching on. Guys, my last 4 speaking engagements, all in 2019, have been on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn is where it is. And I'm telling you, get on it now. Because LinkedIn, eventually, they will become as saturated, if not more, than the other social platforms. And LinkedIn is the largest online professional network. And let me just give you this last plug. LinkedIn is where people with money hang out.
Yes.
You ready to up your game? You ready to up your income? I'm not saying people on the other channels don't have money, but I'm telling you, you don't got to cut through as much clutter to get to the people with money on LinkedIn.
Yep. LinkedIn, it makes me think of locally, there's a club, there's the club feel. There's that, you don't have to prove yourself as much, almost like a country club, because you're a member here, you're hanging out here. So I can kind of trust you a little bit more because you've already said, I'm serious about my business and what's happening. And so that's the kind of mentality of the LinkedIn person, the person who's on LinkedIn for their social media. So take her advice there. And the stats or the numbers that she shared are so crucial to the why. And get on LinkedIn if you're not. Really look at that. And if you need somebody to consult with, well, we have Bianca right here. She gave you her information with Social Savvy Podcast. And so any last thoughts? We're going to close out.
I think that's the gist of it. I mean, guys, like Kimberly said, like, these collaborations are so important for your business, for like your friendships, your relationships. Like, you never know where they'll take you, and you never regret them. So even if you are someone who feels like really hesitant, or you're like, I don't really know where to start, or I feel really overwhelmed, like, guys, just take the time and start liking more things. Start commenting start commenting more, even if it's as simple as, thank you for sharing this. I appreciate this. Start small. And then I promise you will start seeing the difference, and you will start reaping the benefits in the long run.
Yes. And so I want to thank you for joining me today on the show, Bianca. And she spoke to collaboration. We've been in meetings talking about doing some things together. So I look forward to that opportunity because I can be confident that from the education, experience, and all of that she has, that my clients are going to be successful with their social media. So once again, thank you for joining us on the show. You guys have her website, Bianca Lynch with a Y.com. And then stay plugged into coffeeandcollaborations.com for everything that you need to know about entrepreneurship, networking, and entrepreneurship collaboration. We have some amazing guest tips and tools that you can look forward to. So guys, the power of showing up, if you get nothing else, to your brand is so important. The power of showing up and being professional, walking in excellence. The power of communicating effectively through social media, so important. And then to top it off, the power of social media. Don't leave any money or opportunities on the table, and don't let anything be an obstacle. We have so many resources, and that is absolutely one. So thanks again for joining the Coffee and Collaborations podcast. We'll see you next time. We love you. Have a great rest of the week.
You've been listening to Coffee and Collaboration, the #1 networking skill building show for people who want to take their skills to the next level. Please join us each Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern and 6 a.m. Central.